In this episode, the Two Business Guys Mastermind on your best pathway to profits. Enjoy. This business podcast, the Two Business Guys Mastermind, uncovers for you secrets and share tips and tricks to entrepreneurship as they mastermind on how to have startup, operational, and overall business success so that you can go on to get better results. Enjoy.
All right, what's going on, everybody? It is the Two Business Guys. We are masterminding, and we are coming in on a hot take. We wanted to make sure we got this on camera for you all because we started talking off camera, and we wanted to get there because here is a subject that I think will hit a lot of you entrepreneurs out there. And Randy and I were talking about how it's a place where we will differ in our opinion of how to get there, even though we agree with the end result.
So
right?
how did you say it, Rob? This is how we differ.
Yeah, this is where you and I will differ, even though we agree, right? So the topic is, when should you quit your full-time job to pursue your passion? When should you stop what is paying your bills, what is taking care of everything over here, so that you can put all of your time into the passion that you have, the thing that you have that you know is where you want to be spending all of your time? And for those of you all that have been rocking with us for a long time, you know that one of the things that I talk about all the time is living your life in alignment with your purpose, is making sure that every day, every decision, everything you do is in alignment with your purpose. However, there's a caveat to that point, and how you get there is what's really important. Now, there's some people that are of the camp, and I think, Randy, as a matter of fact, why don't you go ahead and kind of set the stage for your side of the discussion, and then I'll bring in kind of my side of the discussion.
So one of the big things is it's just math, right? Mm-hmm. Now, this is from a necessarily, I'm not engineering math kind of person, but what I do appreciate about it is the language that it speaks to you, and it doesn't lie. It tells you what you can do based on the inputs you put in, right? So now, in this particular case, we were just talking about someone we both know that has a decision. He loves doing a particular job. We clearly see how that job can pay. We know two people that he could become that will be his clients tomorrow. Me and Rob, right? And so when I look at the math and I say, okay, here's what you just told me you make over here at the job that I'm sure you're putting in 60, 70 hours to make that money. And then if you just had, in this particular case, the math was 5 times 2K times 12, right? So 5 clients, just 5. Of course, it was 10 times 1, just at the low end. 5 clients paying you $2,000 a month every single month, right? Now that's just 5. Equals equal is more than
what you're currently
now. I wouldn't even consider the math, or even consider saying, hey, this may be jump off time, right? It's actually more than that. It's actually do it first, watch it do, make you the money, and then decide once the money starts pouring in versus the other way, right? You don't just jump off, right? Well, you can, but it's up to you. And so it just seemed to work for me. And that's 120 grand versus 90, right? So now you're like in the passion space, purpose space, skill set space. So how many of us, well, there's actually a lot of people that are doing it now, right? That's why they call it the Great Resignation. People are going, you know what? I can pick beans and make more than, or pick beans and not have to deal with you.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch.
But I want to pause you because you just did something right there. I don't know if everybody realized what he just did. He think he slick. What he just did is he added in a little bit of my argument to his argument. You see what he just did right there? So here's the deal. The argument is between just jumping off or doing what Randy then kind of caveated to, which is my side of the argument. So I want to own my side of the argument. Just so
you're basically saying don't jump off.
I'm saying that there is a jump off point. I'm saying that there's a jump off point that we have to be aware of, because what so many people do is they create that false dichotomy. And this is why you see we get along so well, because we really agree. Like I said, even if we disagree on how to get there in the beginning, and we figure out we just saying the same thing. So here's the deal. In the blogosphere and everywhere else, you will hear these kind of, parallel questions of, do I quit my job and pursue my passion, or do I keep doing my job? right?
Right.
And not pursue my passion,
Right.
as if those are the only choices that are available. And Randy said something that is my core thing, because like I've done it. That's how, like, I'm not talking to y'all from from
You've
theoretical
done it, and you
space.
got the painful
Exactly,
daggers to
right?
say.
Like learn from me walking into this landmine so that you ain't got to walk into this landmine. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all right now. Because when I got out of the Marine Corps, right, I was making close to six figures in the Marine Corps. And I told you all, I have a bachelor's degree in speech communications. I have a bachelor's degree in economics with a minor in Spanish. I have a master's degree, and I have
God's
a law
got so
degree.
many skills.
Right. I could have left the Marine Corps and went and got a law job and easily been making six figures, upper six figures, if I'd have really pursued, because when you're coming out of the Marine Corps, you don't have as many connections. I would have had to do work that I didn't really want to do, right? But I could have went into criminal defense and been making, or personal injury, and been making $200K a year easy, right? But that's not what I wanted to do. That's not what my passion was. That's not what I wanted. Plus, I had the experience of being in the Marine Corps, and being a company commander, being a top litigator. So I was away from the house a whole bunch. And I had my wife say to me, I didn't get married to be a single parent. Right. Like, and my experience was I wasn't deployed. I wasn't overseas. I wasn't in Iraq or Afghanistan. So I couldn't be around my family. So it made no sense that my job was 2.5 miles from the house, but I was never home. Right. And I didn't want that experience again. So of course, and I knew what my passion was. I knew that helping people to be the best that they could be. That's why I wanted to be in leadership. That's why I went into education since I was a kid, helping people to manifest their greatness, helping people to see that they're amazing, and then how to get the stuff out of the way so that they can be their amazing selves. That's always
been
the
leader of your life. I get it. Yeah.
Right. So I've known that. I knew that. This is 2016, 2017 when I'm getting out of the Marine Corps. So in an effort to shore up my responsibilities and my idea of who I am as a father, as a husband, I am going to pursue my passion, because I've started businesses before. I've done businesses kind of on the side, but they never took off the way they needed to take off. So I'm like, if I just put all of my time behind starting my own business, of course, it's gonna work. It's gonna be good.
It's gonna be beautiful. Right? How many of you think that?
6 months tops, right? If I just give 6 months to doing a business already, I'll be good. Now, let me tell you the after story. So
false dichotomy.
Right? First of all, I didn't start right away trying to start my business. I went and got a different job because I was trying to learn a skill from my business. So I was doing mortgage broking. Now, this is a little back and forth between me and God. It was an interesting conversation, because God was like, okay, I want you to go over here, but you think you still need to go over here, so you go ahead and do that, and keep banging your head against that wall until you go do what you're supposed to. So 6 months, I make about $1,200. All right, 6 months. I kid you not. Paying bills on credit cards, doing the whole deal. So fast forward to, okay, I've got to go and I've got to start doing this stuff. I've got to be in this space, which made perfect sense. But in my mind, I thought that it was going to hit, because I'm now pouring all of my passion. I go and I write a book. I am networking. I'm going to conferences. I'm doing all the stuff. For the first 6 months of my business, I make $15,000. Again, 6 months, $15,000.
Yeah. Yeah. You can do some math on that, y'all.
Went from almost six figures to, in 12 months, making a little bit more than $16,000 in my passion in my business. So what's going on during those 6 months while I'm following my passion in my business and I'm putting all my time there? Food still needs to get on the table. Rent still needs to get paid. Lights still got to get paid. So your boy is ship shopping, substitute teaching.
Yeah.
There's an app called Varsity Tutors where
I've
got a lot of degrees. Right. I've got a lot of degrees. I can tutor some people and some stuff. Right. $15 an hour is the most I'm making during this period of time with any of the jobs that I have. Right. Just for those of y'all that don't know, at least in the Michigan area, you make about $11 an hour to substitute teach, just so we clear.
Yeah. Hey, didn't Mark Cuban say, don't follow your passion?
Right. So, and because here's the thing. Following your passion is great, but your passion actually needs to lead you versus you pushing your passion, which is different. And this is what I mean by that. If you've got family to take care of, if you've got a situation where you've got 60, 70 hours a week that you're putting somewhere else. First of all, let's do the math. 70 hours a week means you have 102 hours left in the week to do other stuff. Let's say you sleep for 8 hours a day. That's still only another 56 hours out of the week, which means you have 40 some hours, a full week, to do other stuff.
Yeah.
My question to you is, if you're thinking about jumping off into your business, does your business require more of your time in order to fulfill the demand that your business has right now?
Is that what our parents used to say, or grandparents used to say? Don't jump out of the frying pan into the fire. As a kid, I know not what that means. Wait a minute. So I just didn't get it, right? Exactly. Until I got older.
Exactly.
Out of the frying pan. Mm-hmm. So I stay hot. Yes.
And you get even hotter. Exactly. Right. So the thing I want you all to think about is what Randy talked about, that whole idea, 5 clients, right? Can you get 5 clients paying you $2,000 a month for 12 months? That's a great question. An even better question that I push to people that are thinking about making the jump, because like I told you, I already ran into this landmine. If you want to go and make $15,000 for a year, go ahead and just jump off and think that you're going to figure it all out in a short amount of time and be rolling in the dough. Now, here's the corollary to that story. Right? Here's the corollary to that story. 6 months later, I made $25,000 in a quarter, and we were on pace. Like that next year, we made $70,000, $80,000. Still not 6 figures, but we made $70,000. The next year, I made between $90,000 and $100,000.
Listen to this ramp up.
Mm-hmm.
That money with time.
That's the key.
For family.
Exactly.
You see.
Exactly. And now here's the biggest key. And I think that so many people, it's just like when we do like a debt snowball in personal finance. The whole concept is, once you have done what you need to do, then you get the big payoff. This is the delayed gratification that we were talking about. And so if you have those 70 hours that you're working at another job that's paying you 90 grand, because here's the thing that a lot of people don't want to pay attention to. If you're thinking about having a business and you've got this job, that means that you have more bandwidth, more brain capacity, all the rest of that. That job is not taking everything out of you every day. Mm-hmm. That's why you have time to be like, I can do more. I can be more. I can have other things to do, because that job doesn't require everything of you. So that $90,000 you're running on autopilot, you're making that 90, 100 or 60,000, 50,000, whatever you got, you're running on autopilot and you're making that work happen. And even though it's annoying a little bit, it doesn't require everything of you.
Okay.
Now, here's the beauty of it.
So in other words, you don't have to put in all of your skills. You don't
exactly.
You don't have to wear all 1,000 hats. You don't have to be sales. You don't have to.
Exactly. And now, because here's the thing, you're comparing this thing that requires 50% of me and gives me 5 figures or 6 figures to this thing that's going to require more learning, more growing, more understanding of me than I have ever had to experience before in my life, because it's new and I don't know the stuff. Because even if you know the technical stuff of your passion, here's what you don't know. What you don't know is running a business. What you don't know is hiring.
You don't know, trust.
And you don't know what you don't know. Exactly. Right. You don't know how long it takes to cultivate a client before they pay. What you don't know is all of those things. So what I'm not saying is don't do it. What I'm saying is do it the right way. And the right way is defined specifically as do it in the way where your passion is actually leading you. It's pulling you. It's demanding of you, versus where if you build it, they will come.
We probably could spend a whole bunch of time arguing the validity of that, or the point of view validity, right? Because it's valid. If you say it, hey, it's your opinion. I'm not going to squash it. And then, of course, you've got the ones that say, you know what? I'm burning the boats. What does that mean? Well, I'm building an island where I am, kind of a thing, right? Is it going to take a lot? Yep, because I don't have all the stuff that was on the boat.
Mm-hmm.
And it's and I think, Rob, why there's so many people kind of like peeling off is that they're, to some degree, they're betting on themselves.
Which is perfectly fine.
They're absolutely saying, I think I've got enough gold around me to build an island and all the boats I want.
Yep. And I love it. It sounds great.
there's no ceiling metaphorically to build all the boats I want. And it is, this is, I'll give you an example. I was talking with an entrepreneur the other day, and I'm developing this framework, Rob, and this kind of speaks to, what we're introducing to the world, and trying to get some people to pay us for, is this: let us help you create these pathways to 100K. You know what I mean? We've got an organization that we're looking to kind of, do some things with, without saying who they are. They don't know they want to work with us yet, but so we say we think we can help people build pathways to 100K. So now we use that particular number because
we know we've done it, and
we know we can build this pathway, but we've got to rig them and roll, and then people got, can we do this stuff? We're going, well, I tell you what, let us just do it, and then y'all sit back and watch it, and then we'll let you in and get a little bit of the glory, whatever. So I'm developing this framework that is about that. Now, this is what we do individually for our own businesses and all that kind of stuff. And Rob's been busy and traveling, doing his own business, and I've been, creating these different things. So, but this framework is called, the framework I've developed is called the Entrepreneur's Daily Action Plan. Now, EDAP, I call it, right? So I'll send an entrepreneur a note saying, show me your DAPs.
Yep.
Right? Show me your DAPs for the day. In other words, what was your daily action plans for the day? Man, I've been getting back all kinds of mess. And I don't mind saying this. I apologize for anybody that I'm working with. I don't want to call yourself a mess. But here's the thing.
It is mess.
It's everything but that which the business requires. Now, I think there's a couple of entrepreneurs out there mad at me right now because I had to kind of, say, that's not the framework. It's like the architect give you the blueprints, and then you go build a barn.
Build whatever you want,
and they had a palace. You're building a barn.
Exactly.
That's not the blueprint I gave you. So to some degree, when the frustration, of course, is this is a blueprint for a beautiful building. That building metaphorically is your business, your life, etc.
Right.
And then when you see them going, yeah, I'm over in the back 40 digging a ditch.
Right.
Well, the building's in the front 40.
Exactly. And here's the thing.
I felt it was necessary for me to dig a ditch.
Because you said something, and like all of these are the symptoms of the problem that I'm trying to talk about. Because you said something I think is really, really important. You talked about the whole burn the boats idea, right? And there are people that fall into the burn the boats camp, and generally the burn the boats camp is, if you burn the boats, if you have no other option, it forces you to move forward, which is a true statement. I want you to be clear when you hear me. That it is true that if you burn the boats, if you jettison everything, it will light a fire under you to do something. The question is not, is that a viable pathway? I'm standing here before you today as someone who has gone that pathway. It is viable, yes. The question I'm asking, and I hope that this is the question that many of you all out there are asking, is it the best viable pathway? Is it the most viable pathway? Is it the viable pathway that if you had this viable pathway and this viable pathway to choose from, would you still choose the burn the boats viable pathway? Or would you say, you know what, there's a better option out there, so I will go ahead over here, right? The reason why that's so important is because here's some, we're talking about math. Here's some facts for you. The average small business in America makes $50,000 a year. Point number one. So if you are burning the boats and you are already making $50,000 a year in your current status, I want you to think about whether burning the boats and getting the $50,000 a year is worth the burning the boats.
Yeah.
First point.
Yeah. I should have, in all of these, I should probably, put a disclaimer and all of that stuff out there. I should, because there is a long period of mediocrity sometimes
right
that occurs.
And for most people, right? Because 98% of businesses go out of business in 5 years. That's another number for you, right? Here's another number for you. If you think you're going to be the one that burns the boats and gets a 6-figure business, which we can teach you how to do, which we understand how to do, understand that you are now in the top 30% of businesses that exist, small businesses that exist in the country. There are over 30 million small businesses. Right?
Okay, man.
20 million of them are making less than $100,000 a year.
Good point.
So you're now saying you're going to be in this group. Now, is burning the boats worth 6 figures to be following your passion? Maybe it is, maybe it's not, but wait. There's one more consideration that I want you to think of, and this goes back to what Randy said about that long period of mediocrity. What type of stress are you under when you're burning the boats
knowing that the boats are burnt?
Knowing that the boats are burnt and knowing that the odds of you, right? Because it's not whether you win, it's not whether you survive. It's whether you're able to thrive on the other end of surviving. And here's what I know from mentoring, from meeting so many people who are on the other side, who are in that top 30%. A lot of my mentors are in the top 10%, people who have 7-figure businesses and above. But I've got a lot of friends. I hang around, we are friends with a whole bunch of people that are in that top 30% where we run 6-figure businesses and multiple 6-figure businesses. And here's what I have noticed, and this is anecdotal. This isn't statistical evidence, but here's what I know about all of the people that I have personally interviewed who have made it to the 6-figure club and the different ways that they have done it. I have watched so many more people make it to the 6-figure club and be happy about it and not have the near-death experience stories that me and my crew have, the Burn the Boats crew has. They have I built the business and I built it slowly and it was about 3 years or 4 years, but then it started taking off and boom. And then I was like, man, I got too much stuff to do over here, so I got to quit my job. And it's amazing. They're so much happier about their story than I was about mine. And then, and don't get me wrong, there's a Burn the Boats crew. There's a group of us. But the thing that I hear from everybody that's in the Burn the Boats crew is that moment of, oh shoot, am I gonna have to go get a job? Right. Am I gonna have to do I got this part-time job and this part-time job and this part-time job because I'm dealing with, I don't know if I'm gonna have money. I don't know how this. I got credit card bills. I got this. There's a level of stress with Burn the Boats that I'm just asking. If you're in the small group of people that need the Burn the Boats in order to even get into the entrepreneurial journey, hey, do your thing. But if you're somebody,
that's that mind frame. Do I need to just burn the boats? Otherwise, I'll always have 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Exactly.
I was that person.
There we go. And here's the funny thing. I love the fact you say that you were that person, but I love the fact that like that's not how you got there though.
Yeah. I mean, there's
right.
I saved some money.
Right. Because here's the thing. A lot of times we tell ourselves we're that person.
Right.
Ignoring the evidence to the contrary.
And then you listen to the story, right? I'll give you an example. This gets me excited because I was, we're seeing a lot. There's a rising star in the online space. His name is Alex Hormozi.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And rising star. Why? Because he's employing some tactics, basically some Gary Vaynerchuk tactics, some Grant Cardone tactics. He's deploying some tactics these tactics have propelled him to the front of this space we're in, online money making, blah, 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 right?
Mm-hmm.
But once you peel back the onion and see what's happening now is he's peeling back the onion.
Mm-hmm.
He's starting to, because we're like, oh my gosh, this guy, we run businesses, $100 million, we have nothing to sell you. Okay, blah, 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 right? You're like, oh, that's pretty neat. And then he drops this knowledge on you. You're going, oh, shoot, that's dope. That's real good. I can use this today, right now. And then he writes a book and that sells, like, he puts it out there for $1. I don't want the money. I just wanted to help you. It sells 200,000 copies in no time. And then you're going, who is this guy? Now you start seeing him on all the heavy hitter shows. I mean, this guy has been on people's shows that have 2, 3, 4 million. And you're starting to see him. So now, but these are to some degree tactics. But now he's peeling back the onion. At first, he was just thinking that he was this guy that just, woke up and rolled over and, had some failures, but didn't propel. Then you start saying, well, let me tell you, because I just saw one yesterday, one of his videos, and he was like, well, I went and worked for this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked for free, and then they started paying me. That taught me this.
Yeah.
And we're like, wait a minute, I don't remember that story. And then
Exactly.
he says, then I was going to these things and I was trading my time for these people to do some work for me because I didn't know what to do. So I learned
Yep.
it this way. And then he says, well, and what was undergirding all of that was this massive feeling about my father.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So
Yep.
you then you get into the whole Michael Jordan, people didn't believe in me and I
Mm-hmm.
just
Mm-hmm.
overcame and I had this
Mm-hmm.
chip on my shoulder. Now you're starting to see that. You're
Mm-hmm.
peeling back that onion, you're going, okay, so on some level, this was built on I'm not gonna say trauma because I want to speak for him, but some deep seated something
Oh
to
yeah.
prove. And he tells
There
you,
was
I had
there
to
was
prove to him
right. There was fuel behind everything.
exactly,
And one
and
thing
not
that I
just
think a
fuel,
lot of
but
people miss.
creating talent
Exactly.
to then say, I not only can burn the boats, but I know I built up some skills on my way to the island.
That I don't need the
It made me
boats.
comfortable
Right.
burning
Now here's
boats.
the funny thing, because a lot of people don't realize this, right? Everything Alex Hormozy is doing right now, like most people miss his story of what was his first job out of college. Do you remember? I think, and it's funny because
Oh, an investment banker or something like that.
you're right on track, but he was a management consultant.
Yeah. Okay.
Literally, his job was to go into companies and figure out how to turn them around. What is his business?
Doing just that. So skill build, right? But working for now, did he bet on himself? Yeah. Did
Yeah,
he have times where he was like, he faced the abyss and the abyss looked back?
of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
And did he have did he then have a partner who, if you listen to her, is smarter than him? That's how I see it.
Yeah,
He's
you're right.
like
She
most of
saw in
us,
him.
a
She
bull in
saw
a
something in
china
him
shop,
that he
and
didn't see. Yep.
and she says, "Hey, stop doing all this. Just
Mm-hmm.
do one thing." It's what Rob talks about when he says the sun itself doesn't burn you up because it doesn't focus its rays or something,
Yeah,
So,
exactly. The
but when it
sun
focuses
spends all this
rays,
stuff.
it'll
Right.
burn through everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you
That's the whole
focusing
deal.
rays? She made him
Focus.
focus his rays.
That's the key. And so I want to be clear. Like, I'm not against burning I'm not against burning the boats, although I think that it's a waste of resources, personally. However, um,
Burn the
right,
boats, but use the wood to yeah.
right, like like the whole idea is like, remember, because burn the boats, just for you all.
Send those boats to somebody else. What are you
Here's a
doing?
quick history lesson. Burn the boats comes from Ponce de Leon when they went and sorry, not Ponce de Leon. It was Hernan Cortez. So when Hernan Cortez came from Spain and they came to the new land to Hispaniola, which is the Dominican Republic and Haiti, which is where the hub of everything was, and then they went to Mexico to go conquer the Aztecs. The whole idea was he was going to make a name for himself. He had to make sure that the men that he had taken with him understood that it was conquer or die. And so he sent a message to them that was, I'm burning the boat, so we either gonna win or y'all gonna die. That was the purpose of him burning the boats. And
Yeah.
so, of course, they won, they conquered, blah, blah, blah. But understand that it was a message that was meant to convince somebody other than Hernan Cortez. It wasn't a message that was meant to convince him. He knew he was going to win or die from the time he went, but he went and burnt the boats so he could get everybody else on board. It was a show. It was a demonstration to make sure that they didn't have any other options. And so what people have done is they have now adapted that to, you have to do that to yourself. I say, give yourself a little bit more credit. I say, love yourself a little bit more. I say, dig into and figure out whether or not you're actually serious about this. And some of the things that you can do to prove that you're actually serious about it is set goals for yourself, like go make some money before you say that this passion is really your passion.
Right.
Go get some clients.
It's like when you do the math, right? And I guess one of these other things that I'm building out through RBI is that just that kind of approach, right? So I've been, because so many people are scared to leave the job, blah, blah, blah. And I go, okay, why go against that? Why just come in and try to karate that, right? Because the opponent is just too strong in the society and the fact that you got to earn and all this kind of stuff. So I decided to kind of build something that helps you work until you own, right? And then it's not fully built out. It's been an idea that's been floating around for a while, and I'm just trying to, because that kind of blunts the force against you right? That comes against you, right? It blunts that force a bit. If you can, and I think this is where I think the pathway to 100K, when Rob and I roll this out, that pathway to 100K is then showing you this. Okay, I can imagine us doing like this, Rob, and kind of saying, hey, you make 90, 5 clients, 2K times 12 is 120, more than that, maybe even paying your insurance or something. So here's the pathway. We're asking you to walk it or have it walked. So if you got, man, I tell you, I've been fascinated by this concept of, do you have more time or do you have more money? Right. I asked a young lady this yesterday, who, I was doing a little coaching with. I says, which one do you have, time or money? She says, well, I got a little bit of money, and I got a little bit of time. I said, give me more than that. I says, would you say that you have more time or money? She said, I think more time. I says, well, then you can do these things yourself because you got more time. Right. And you guys have heard this. This ain't no brand new.
Exactly.
So when we are helping people build that pathway, now we say 100K because there's mental thing that people say, well, if I'm making 100 grand, I think I'll be okay, because what
push you in a different bracket.
75, you don't have any more degrees of happiness. And then people say, well, if I can make $1 million, I'll be fine. It's just a kind of a thing in their minds, right? I want to make $1 million. Oh, okay, great. Right now we know that once you taxes and all that kind of stuff, it becomes a different conversation. But okay, if you can make 100K, decent deal for yourself, right? Okay, if we can help people build that pathway, just first of all, it's going to be the math part. Okay, here's what it is. Here's the business you have. Now we got to go find out whether or not you got clients, you got enough total addressable market, all this other stuff. What can we do to market to get the people over to your stuff, right? Can that be enacted? Well, like I say, when we were talking to this guy, we knew that he had 2 people that would pay him $2,000 right now, and that was us, because we were like, look, I've got a whole media company that has multiple podcasts that I can't even keep up on. Why? Because shoot, I'm kind of getting into it a little bit, but I didn't even get saying a little bit about what the business is. But so now I need someone to help me with that, because I'm blowing it.
Exactly.
Right.
And you know that, but and that point that you're making there, like, this is what most beginning entrepreneurs, again, this is not from me looking at it, like, this is me looking at my journey and looking at the journeys of, like, we've helped, I mean, you've been doing this work, us together, we've helped over 100 entrepreneurs through their entrepreneurial journey. And Randy was doing a lot of this with some of the entrepreneurs that we're working with before even that. So, like, we've seen this over and over and over and over again. It's not just, what I know, but what I've seen is entrepreneurs, when they're starting their journey, the biggest part of doubt that's in the mind of the entrepreneur has nothing to do around, do I have enough time to get things done? It's, can I get enough customers? It's, can I make enough money? The time stuff happens after you start making money and you're like, wow, I've got all this stuff that I need to do to keep making money. But so many entrepreneurs never even get off the ground, never even get started, because they're not making money, because they're not confident that they can go make money. For all of y'all that are thinking that you need more time so that you can go make money, I'm telling you, right? I wrote a book about this, right? Like, I have programs. I teach entrepreneurs, I teach CEOs, I teach executives all across the country. Most people don't realize this reality that we need to talk about right now. There are 24 hours in a day for everybody, from Elon Musk down to you. Why is Elon Musk able to build a company that's going and trying to colonize Mars, and you can't figure out how to make $100,000 with the time that you have right now?
Man. Is
it because you need to devote more time to your business, or because you need to get better at using the time that's already available to your business?
More than likely, it's that. Remember, I was telling you I was working with I don't know if I mentioned this, but so I was talking with this young lady, business, right? And I says, show me the DAPs. Okay, I never finished that conversation. And she showed me, and so I was a little bit like, hey, again, blueprint. That's not what I showed you. And so I told her, take this down here, because all of her other stuff was taking care of other things.
Exactly.
all kind non-money
None of
making things.
non-profit generating activity.
Not non-profit generating activity. Y'all know we hammer on that, right? So then I says, you see these down here? Those deserve attention before this, before that, and before that. Right?
Yep.
That was kind of strong.
You've got to earn the right to do those other things.
It's exactly it. I saw somebody say this somewhere. I think it was this guy came out with it, man. He says, you haven't earned the right to eat lunch. I was like, oh, I think it was a controversial figure right now. Maybe Alex Tate or Alex.
Oh, I know you're talking about. Yeah,
I
Alex.
mean,
I think it's Tate. Yeah, I think it's Tate.
Yeah. So he says you haven't earned the right to eat lunch. He says you haven't done no work.
Right. That's the whole thing. And don't get me wrong, while he says a whole bunch of stuff that I don't agree. There's a very interesting interview that he did with Patrick Bet-David that talks about why he says
that's the one I'm talking about.
It talks about why he says a bunch of stuff. Because he says stuff that most people agree with, but he says it in a way that's bombastic, intentionally.
Very disagreeable.
Right. Because he's like, I want to push your buttons because you're easy for me to push your button. Like it's a whole bunch of stuff that's going on like that. But to his point, I think that oftentimes this is the part that gets missed in the you deserve to live your best life and everything is awesome, kind of positive.
The trophies.
Right. Like all of that. Yes, there is power in a positive mental attitude. There is power in affirmations. There is power in thinking highly of yourself. There's power in all of that. So you will see that in everything that I teach. So I'm not going to say anything against it. However, there are some teachers that are teaching that give people a misunderstanding of the fact that there is also work. It is not just think good thoughts and good things happen. There is work that has to go into it. There is strategy. There is doing step 1 and then step 2 and then step 3. If you do step 3 before step 1, you're going to constantly run into problems because that's not the way that it's supposed to work.
Right.
And there are people that this is when I'm talking about not just burning the boats. This is what I learned through my experience. There were things that I needed to learn, that I needed to do, that I needed to be committed to doing long enough to learn them. And it was stuff that I didn't necessarily want to do. I didn't want to learn how to get better at marketing. I didn't want to learn how to get better at sales. I didn't want to learn how to set up systems so that I could continue to contact people and continue to make sure. I didn't want to believe that 80% of sales happen after the 5th contact and that 70% of salespeople don't call people more than twice. I didn't want to agree with that reality. I wanted to think that I was going to be the special one who was only going to have to call people once because that's what I wanted. And therefore I would call them and they would just sign. I didn't understand the psychology of the sale. I didn't understand the buyer's journey. I didn't understand enough about the other side to realize that I was not helping people when I was just trying to make them make a commitment on the phone with me the first time I was talking to them. I was trying to help myself. I didn't realize the transformation that had to happen for me to become a business owner versus someone who was just good at doing these things. Right.
Wow, and that's powerful. In the comment section, we invite you to agree or disagree. It's just an invitation, right? Agree. Hey, these guys are full of canal water, and, we don't believe them. They're that's fine. But if you hear kernels of you in this, and that you're doing all of this stuff, getting prepared for all of this stuff before you even do the work of the business. Now, this is the work that your spreadsheet has told you to do. If you've done a spreadsheet, right, and the spreadsheet says, well, for this month, you need 170 sales. And then from a math standpoint, this is speaking to your guy, Rob. I got his name up here, Ravi Abuvala.
Yeah,
I've been checking him out a little bit. And it's kind of, surfacey and all that kind of stuff. You're like, okay.
Of course.
But then he had this one section where he just ran the math. And I was like, oh my gosh. And he says, well, if you make 1,000 calls, this is how many are going to call you back. And it was so broken down, and I didn't record it or anything. So I'm like, darn it, I got to find it. But if your spreadsheet is telling you, and this is the part that we, as whether we're coaching or whether we're laying frameworks and all this kind of stuff, and it's not being followed. And then people are asking, well, why isn't it working? Well, because, Here's the math.
Exactly.
Right? Not hard math, just truth math.
Truth math. Exactly.
That 100 is only going to perhaps net you 2 pairs.
Exactly.
2, yes.
Right.
2. Now there's systems and things that you can put in place that kind of ups that, right?
But the question is, are you dedicated to building that stuff, knowing those numbers? Because to your point, Randy, what so many people do is they go and get themselves time. And it's Parkinson's law, right? Work will expand to fill the time allocated to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you've got 2 hours a day, which is 10 hours a week, to make 100 calls, you can make 100 calls in 10 hours a week, right?
10 hours
that's basically 10
calls 10 hours
an hour.
100 calls now.
Right. That's 10 calls an hour. Now, here's the funny thing. If you can't make 100 calls in 10 hours a week, what makes you think that you're going to be able to make 100 calls in 40 hours a week?
See, that just that simple, right? And if the math says, or the averages suggest from 100 will come this, then you go, well, if I get 2 pairs, but I need 170, then you start thinking differently. When else could I call? Who else could help me call? What else could I put out there? Right. So now you start thinking strategically.
Right. And I love all that, but I don't want us to move past this point. If you're not making the 100 calls,
you're not making the 100 calls.
Stop thinking about the 1,000 that you need to make. You're not gonna make 1,000 if you're not making 100. This is what so many people. This is what the fallacy of, if I had all this time to run my business, is. Because most people aren't doing profit generating activities with the time they have right now. More time is not going to make you do more profit generating activities. It's going to make you do more non-profit generating activities.
Okay. That's why I'm a big believer in, and I can tell you, if you say, well, what do you guys struggle? I struggle with anytime I don't get up at 4 a.m. My day, to me, has been a degree of waste, because I have found, now, by any stretch of the imagination, here's what I want to tell you guys, right? By no stretch of the imagination do I like getting up at 4 a.m. Let me just put it out there, like, oh, I'm not going, oh my gosh, it's 4. No. What I have found is the day gets away from me when I don't confine it to time when nothing's moving. That's just strategy.
Right.
That's fight against yourself. That every single day. And here's the proof. Anytime I get up at 4, there's everything. I wash clothes. Everything is done. It's just our walk. All kinds of productivity happens. And when I decide to get up at 9 or 10, because every now and then, everyone, like the other night, I was building out a website, right? Because I got a person, but this is one out. I said, I'm building this out because I want to do a 24-hour. If I don't get it done in 24 hours, it's not gonna get done, kind of a thing, right? So I was up till 5 a.m. and I slept. Watch this. Oh, you don't get sleep? Yes, I did, because I slept till noon. And then, of course, I'm groggy till 3. Right, so I got up, I read till 3. I'm drinking coffee, but you think that day got away from me? Well, kind of, sort of. Right? Because I did the work the night before, so I felt a little bit better. But the point is, there have been times, look at your own schedule and look at your own life. We'll go ahead and close with this, everybody, is that if you know that all the activities that you're doing happen to fall into a time where they need to get done because, well, they fall into that time, then here's the hack. Switch the times. Now, I tell people, don't switch the times. You're in a relationship and now you're up all night. You're not sleeping with your person and all that. Now you're in trouble, right?
Yeah.
But if you find out that, you know what, things around my house start jumping at 9. People got to go to school. They got to be taking places. You got grandkids. You got blah, right? All these different. And if you know you can get the work done, you can set up your day, your framework.
Yep.
Right? Because most anything, Rob, there's inexpensive tools that you can say, I need this email to go out at such and such. Well, could you put that on robocalls?
Yeah,
Or whatever it is.
there's ways to do all of that stuff. I think to your point, so many people get stuck because they haven't gotten to profit generating activities yet. The question is, what are you doing that makes you money? Reverse engineer how you get from the start of that to money and do that over and over and over again until your business demands that you do more.
See, you sounding like me. I hear this guy, and we do some stuff for some organizations together and stuff, and we're in the same room, and I'm like, that dude is sounding a lot like me. I peel off a couple of his things, right? But
you're
that
rubbing
is
off
it,
on me.
Everyone. What it's so simple. What are you doing? And that's what I had to say to this entrepreneur. I says, how does any of this up here have to do with you generating revenue? I says, now she had it. But it was way down. But this is what we also know, that as the day goes, so does your levels of energy.
Exactly. And to be clear, this isn't something that we're telling you just at your level. My business did 6 figures 2 years ago and just cracked the 6 figures mark. And we just grew like 25% the next year. And I was like, why is it that we're not doing multiple 6 figures, doing all this type of stuff? And I was like, we're trying to do too many things. So we broke down what is the thing that we get paid the most for, make the best profit margin on, and is the easiest for us to do. And we focused on just that thing. And we were able to almost double our revenue over this year. And we're looking to do that again next year by focusing on just this thing, getting really good at it, figuring out how to make it effortless, and then taking that process to another product.
See that, right? Okay. There it is, right? The 4 product, 25 items, $30 times 365. Right? You guys have heard us say this before. 4 products, $25 in sales a day, each item, right? No, not 25. If you're selling 25 items a day at an average of $30, you do that for 365 days. That's $1 million and $1,095,000. 4 products. So you got the 1 product. Rob's out there making money with it. You can break that down, and then you got the next product, right? And you're getting 25 sales of that one. So now you're out there at an average of $30. The math just works, and we want you guys to see this, right? We want, not you guys, you all. We want you all to see this, that those typically are the pathways to that kind of profit, right? Pathway to profits, pathway to cash flow, whatever you want to say.
Right.
Here's the pathway. Now you look down the path and go, that looks pretty cool. I don't know where it goes, but perhaps I follow it. And then once you walk that pathway, you start seeing these things that Rob and I are talking about. Listen, we don't know if we're going to spin this thing up. Let's say it differently. We know we're going to spin it up. We just don't know if we're going to do it like with an organization, and license.
How it's going to come to you, we're not sure yet. But it's coming.
Yeah.
Coming soon.
Because for us, everyone, it gets frustrating because we clearly have and see, based on some of our own faults, based on some of our own all kinds of stuff.
Right. Like I said, I've made the mistakes for you. Don't feel like
I can tell
learn
you guys,
from my mess ups. That's what I want people to do.
On some levels, I can tell you, sometimes it's a healing journey for us too. Sometimes you have to hear yourself, hypnotize yourself, and say to yourself, yeah, you need to be doing that too.
Yeah.
Then you can get to your level, your goal level. My goal levels are very, very high for a very specific reason. And most of it is man against man, right? I think I can. I've done all this stuff to do it. Why aren't I doing it? And then the every day is to fight against the temptation to not do it.
Exactly.
Right. And then to literally say, like, focus. And if you can't focus, I'm a non-focuser, right? I like to plant a lot of seeds and all these different things, right? Then you've got to remember that seeds are in the ground. Go cultivate them, go water them, so
that's the key. You got to be focused on cultivating, even if you're not focused on the one seed. And the one last thing that I'll say as we break is, and you've heard this before, I'm going to say it, and it's a broken record, but it is very simple. It's not easy, but it is very simple. Figure out what makes you money. Do that over and over and over again.
It seems so simple, but it is that thing that makes you money. And then Rob said earlier, and doesn't kill you. I mean,
that part,
it can make you $3 an hour, and you go, well,
right,
this is not a good deal.
Exactly. Like, and the key is, right, you figure out how to do that thing, and be clear, in the figure out how to do that thing over and over and over again, it doesn't mean that you do it over and over and over again, but you figure out how somebody can do it, because there is somebody that $3 an hour is an amazing wage to. Right. It may not be anybody that has a family that they need to take care of, but there are people who are like, you know what? I like to do this anyway. You're going to pay me $3 to do it? Great.
Man, I would do it for free. That does all my graphic stuff. I think he lives in, I don't know, Pakistan, India, somewhere. I got some people over in Sri Lanka. Over in Sri Lanka, man, the economy is going. It's just bad. So when they get their money, they're like, "What else you got?" I'm like, "More."
Exactly.
So a person over in Canada, right? I'm a little, kind of feeling a way about them right now. So if you're looking at this, where's my websites?
Yep.
All right. So hey, everybody.
At the end of the day, there is somebody that loves to do what you hate to do.
Yeah.
And that while you would do it for $10,000 an hour, they might do it for $5 an hour. Yeah. And it's really important to realize that when you're creating jobs, when you're doing, like I tell our students this all the time, when your weaknesses are other people's opportunities to shine, are other people's opportunities to manifest their greatness, to show that they're capable, that they're worthy, that they're all of those things. So do not hide your weaknesses as if your weaknesses are problems. Your weaknesses, the places where you're not strong, where you're not shining, those are people's opportunities to come alongside you, walk alongside you, building what you're building, and to shine their light, to get their day in the sun. Because they might not be the entrepreneur. They might not be the person that's going to go start their own thing, but they can walk alongside you and shine. And now your lights are brighter because you had the ability, the humility.
That's good,
to
Rob.
say,
I'm writing that down.
I'm not great.
I'm putting your name on it.
This.
Rob,
well,
your weakness is someone's opportunity to shine, right? Mm-hmm. And I typically, when I'm talking to entrepreneurs, I'll say, and it's your responsibility to let them shine. Basically, I just say it's your responsibility not to walk towards your weakness. All right, everybody, that's the show. All right, we will see you on the next one. Rob, you have a good day, my guy.
You too, my brother. Always pleasure.
Take care.
Take it easy.